to another training session with KV Karate. Bob and I are going to explain a few Kumite related concepts to you here today. So very basic, and even advanced people have to go back and revisit basics. And kids, this is something important that you'll want to practice it as well. So as I've said at home, I really like using lines. So this painter's tape is great. So what I want you to do, I want to explain a couple of things and challenge the kids and the athletes to do this at home. And I want them to measure and be conscious of the distance that they can close in on an attack without compromising good form and technique. So the first thing I want to talk about is a jab. So what I suggest you do is, by the way, I train and I believe there's two types of jabs. There's a defensive jab where an attacker's coming into you, and then there's an offensive jab where you set up a technique where you have to try to shoot in and attack. You may have to close much more distance because they're moving away or something. So an offensive jab, I see your hand up here because your body is like this, shooting in. Defensive jab is here because you're not shooting in, you're moving in but not to the extreme. So an example would be an offensive jab would be max range like this. So you really have to reach. And I like to explain this as a bow and arrow technique. So here, bow and arrow. Not past you, but right up here. So that's an offensive jab. In that case, hands are always first. In that case, we're leaning like this. We're really shooting max range. Defensively, they may be coming in. So defensively, I want to just go like that and protect my head. Keep it away. Keep this hand up so that I don't get hit. You'll notice the line, and this is where this line comes into play. It's very important that you practice getting off of that line. So if I do a jab, right now, I'm centered on that line. My attacker is centered on the line, coming in. I never want to come straight in. I want to use angles, little angles. So from here, I want to come in, boom, get off that line. If there's a punch or strike coming, it just misses me. This hand is here just in case I have to block. But I want to get off that line, okay? So whether it's an offensive jab or a defensive one, I want to get off that line. So practice your Kumite at home, both feet. Practice, start static, move around, and then practice that getting off the line. Make it a habit. You never want to come straight in. Very dangerous, you can hit. Okay, so that's part one. Understand the line, footwork. Move over, get off the line with the footwork. Two, then I want you to measure how far your range is so that you know when you're standing here, I can score from here. And mark where that is. So in this case, I start with the tape. So if I was to do a shoot-in jab, my max range, what I could possibly reach, and come within scoring distance of 5 centimeters, I have to lean in like this. So I want to mark that on the ground. Okay, this is my range. If I'm doing a defensive one, I want to go and I want to mark that range. So that range would be here. Over time, I would like to see you challenge yourself. Remember now, defensively, you can't be leaning, you have to be straight up. And that makes a difference in the range of the hand, okay? You have to be straight up. But I would like to see you over time practice so that you increase your range, okay? That's a training exercise that you can only improve on if you do it over and over again. So trying to score with a jab, setting it up offensively, you've got to go deep and hard. So use the line, mark where you're at today, and then check it again in a month. Do it every week, and then practice both sides, and then do a reset. If you have a target, it's always good for visual aid, and obviously in Kumite, sport Kumite, for juniors and under, there's no contact. So just to here. To the body, we can talk about a reverse punch. To the body, contact. This, no good, because you're not in the right distance, okay? So now we're going to go to the reverse punch. So the same applies. You don't want to go straight in. Don't want to do that. Even though my punch is on that line, this is dangerous. And this is even more dangerous. Traditionally, we practice the hikite here. Kumite, it's up here. So what we want to do is we want to get off that line, like this. So I'm just off the line, so that hopefully this can jam up an attacking hand or be ready to block something else, and I can shoot in and score. So for side on, this isn't going to work. No good. It has to be vertical, so like this. Okay, so when I go off the line, it has to be like that, off the line. Okay, so train your start point. You can push off and measure. Oh, I didn't come back far enough. Okay, so train going in, coming out. So that's the same exercise using a reverse punch. There's a lot more footwork involved, so we'll start from there and maybe we'll revisit this again in another lesson. Thanks for today.